3 months ago, Tom gathered his immediate family together and told them of his plans for his wedding anniversary. At first, they were not sure they heard correctly, then they were shocked, and then they became very emotional when Tom told them of his ambitious plan and asked for their blessing and support to make it an unforgettable day and to celebrate Jessica's memory. Tom had married his childhood sweetheart Jessica last year. They were the epitome of the notion likes attract, they even looked alike. 2 months later, Jessica fell seriously ill and passed away within a month. Tom was devastated. It is Easter Sunday and Tom's family was sitting down to roast lamb with all the trimmings. His dad, Graham, was carving the joint. The same as every Easter, except that they were at Tom's home and not at the family farmhouse. Tom had never invited the family for lunch before, even during his brief marriage to Jessica. His younger brother Bill and his older sister Kate, who was a postgraduate, were down from university, and his Aunt Sally was also there. And Tessa, Bill. 3 months ago, Tom gathered his immediate family together and told them of his plans for his wedding anniversary. At first, they were not sure they heard correctly, then they were shocked, and then they became very emotional when Tom told them of his ambitious plan and asked for their blessing and support to make it an unforgettable day and to celebrate Jessica's memory. Tom had married his childhood sweetheart Jessica last year. They were the epitome of the notion likes attract, they even looked alike. 2 months later, Jessica fell seriously ill and passed away within a month. Tom was devastated. It is Easter Sunday and Tom's family was sitting down to roast lamb with all the trimmings. His dad, Graham, was carving the joint. The same as every Easter, except that they were at Tom's home and not at the family farmhouse. Tom had never invited the family for lunch before, even during his brief marriage to Jessica. His younger brother Bill and his older sister Kate, who was a postgraduate, were down from university, and his Aunt Sally was also there. And Tessa, Bill's girlfriend, who was considered one of the family. Tom's mum, Julie, spoke out, "This is wonderful, Tom, I never expected such a spread, and it is really nice not to have to cook." Tom replied, "I have to own up, Kate has been doing most of the cooking. She has been a great help." They all raised their glasses to her. After they finished, they gathered together in the sitting room. "I have an announcement to make," said Tom. "In 3 months' time it would have been Jessica's and my wedding anniversary. And I am going to celebrate the occasion by renewing my wedding vow." The family looked puzzled. Graham asked, "How are you going to do that? She is no longer with us." They looked at each other and nodded their agreement with what Graham had just said. "The idea came to me during Jessica's last hours. She was nearly unconscious, and I said out aloud to her, hoping she could hear me, that we would stay married for the rest of my life and that I will renew my wedding vow on our anniversary," replied Tom. "She must have heard me because she opened her eyes and said that would be wonderful, dear Tom, I'll be there." She then closed her eyes, they were her last words. "For the ceremony, with your support, I will be both Jessica and myself." Tom then paused while what he said sunk in. "How are you going to be both of you?" asked Bill. "I didn't know at first, and then chatting with my big sister while we were preparing lunch, it came to us. I am going to be Jessica on the outside and me on the inside," said Tom with a smile. "Sorry, I don't understand," said Graham, though it was clear from her beaming smile his wife did. "Oh, I think it is a wonderful idea, even though it is the last thing I would have expected," said Julie. "You're going to dress as her, aren't you?" "Yes, you are right, Mum," replied Tom with a grin. "Jessica kept all her wedding apparel and they are stored away just as she left them. Kate has said she will help me. I think Tom is being very brave and I love him for it. I cannot think of a more fitting gesture of his love for Jessica and his commitment to remain hers for the rest of his life," said Kate. "I am having Jessica's family here for lunch next Sunday. Kate will help me again, I cannot do it without their blessing. And the week after, our friends who were the bridesmaids and ushers, to ask them if they would like to participate," said Tom. "But before I take it any further, what does everybody think?" asked Tom. Julie spoke first. "I've already said it is a wonderful idea. Does that mean I will be the mother of the bride as well as of the groom? And I will need a new outfit, Graham." Graham chipped in, "I was afraid of that. Tom, I still don't really understand, but you have my full support and I look forward to it. Kate spoke next. I thought Tom's idea for the ceremony is a wonderful idea, but to defend his honor I should tell you it was my idea to get my little brother to agree to be Jessica. Now I know why you invited me, said Aunt Sally. I'm all for it and anything I can do is on the house. You found out. But I do want my favorite aunt to witness the retaking of my vow and I know you will want to be involved, replied Tom. It is very kind of you to help, and I would like to keep it in the family for obvious reasons. I do have savings, although a family discount would be nice, replied Tom. Aunt Sally has her own wedding business. Finally Bill spoke up. I think it's a great idea. You have my vote. Are you expecting to revive my role as best man? Yes, of course, Bill, replied Tom. Well, as it is a day of surprises, could I be your chief bridesmaid instead? Bill surprised everyone, more than Tom had earlier, except for his mom, that is. And Tessa was beaming. Julie quickly said, Of course you can, my dear. I have known about your secret. You can't hide these things from your mother. I'm glad you have come out, as they say. And before anyone jumps to the wrong conclusion, I know both my sons are straight. And I should add that Tom has shown no interest in women's clothing, well, until now, that is, she laughed. I hadn't realized you knew, Mum, said Bill. Tessa has been pushing me to tell you. She knows and loves both sides of me, and Tom's ceremony will be a golden opportunity, and unlike at the wedding I can join in instead of being jealous of the bridesmaids. I was going to ask Kelly next week if she would be the chief bridesmaid again. I think she would be disappointed if she wasn't, said Tom. I know. Why don't you both be chief bridesmaids, or rather we'll call you the maid of honor and Kelly the chief bridesmaid. And Tessa, you can revive your role as a bridesmaid. You can then hold his hand literally and metaphorically. Tessa nodded enthusiastically. That would be brilliant, replied Bill. Tom and his mother had put Bill's mind at rest and had brought everybody quickly around to accepting Bill's confessed crossdressing. But what's the difference between a chief bridesmaid and a maid of honor? I didn't know the difference myself until Jessica explained it to me. They are the same. The Americans call a chief bridesmaid a maid of honor, although there are some cultural differences. As an honorary girl, maid of honor better suits you, replied Tom. Mom and Dad, I was thinking of using the farm as the venue. If the weather is fine, we can be out in the garden, and if not, we can retreat to the old barn, asked Tom. They both nodded with joy. One more thing, said Tom, it all depends on Jessica's family's blessing. I don't know if they would be disgusted seeing me dressed as Jessica or welcome and enjoy the celebration of, and my commitment to, her memory. So keep it to yourselves for the time being, don't make any plans yet. Tom was smiling at his mom and her sister, but keep the day free. Julie got up and gave her sons huge hugs. Next Sunday it was the turn of Jessica's family to be entertained by Tom and his sister. Tom had nothing to fear. They loved the idea and welcomed Tom's renewed commitment to be their son-in-law, as they saw it. Kelly agreed to revive her role as the chief bridesmaid and thought it would be fun with Bill being one too. She announced that she was going to organize an anniversary hen-do. She was pleased with her idea, and that she would include Bill and Tessa. The final lunch, with the friends, did not go so well. 2 of Tom's friends had been ushers at the wedding and 2 of Jessica's friends had been bridesmaids. Tom and Kate had decided to invite them, as they took part in the wedding, but not to include any others. It was intended to keep the ceremony invitations to cherished guests and not the wider guest list typical of a wedding. One of Jessica's friends was not all supportive. She thought Tom dressing up as Jessica was disgusting and disrespectful to Jessica's memory. She left muttering she had warned Jessica that she was marrying a pervert. Tom didn't know where that came from. Her friend, who had been showing enthusiasm up to then, mumbled something and left with her. Tom was surprised and disappointed, but they were Jessica's friends and he had not known them well. One of Tom's friends could not make the ceremony. He had been accepted an offer to take part in a research project overseas during the summer. That just left one friend. He was keen, but pointed out he would be the only guest who was not a member of one of the families. Tom reluctantly agreed. Perhaps it should be kept to the families. He had been Tom's idea to invite the bridesmaids and grooms, but not for them to undertake their roles again. It is only Bill's wish to be bridesmaid and with Kelly's enthusiasm that Tom went along with the idea. After talking about it, they all agreed that bridesmaids may look out of place at the ceremony despite Bill's disappointment. But he perked up when Kate and Tessa pointed out to him that they would help him attend the evening party in a dress. The plan was now in place. There was to be a ceremony in Tom's parents' garden, with Tom dressed in Jessica's bridal gown, to be followed by a reception. Then that evening there would be a party in the barn. Only close relatives would be invited. It was not a wedding, so inviting, say, distant cousins, was not a consideration. It was going to be on the day of the anniversary, a Sunday. They now had 2 months to prepare. The parents approached their respective family members to invite them, to ensure they would understand the sentiment and support behind Tom's decision. One of his uncles declined quite rudely. He didn't give his wife a chance. But she later told her sister, Julie, that she would come on her own. She thought it was a delightful idea and very brave of Tom. Julie and Graham offered to arrange the catering and accommodation. But the person who needed the most help was Tom. His aunt and sister decided to take him in hand and ensure that he would be as realistic a bride as possible. Looking like a man in a dress would be an insult to his departed wife and the families who were supporting him. They told Tom to be at Sally's saloon next Sunday and to bring Jessica's wedding dress. Tom's metamorphosis into Jessica was about to start. Tom arrived at the salon. He was nervous, but being Sunday he knew no one else would be there. Tom, please take off all your clothes so we can see what we have to play with. You can keep your shorts on. We are not going to go that far in your transformation, unless, Sally said with a smirk. You will need to remove some body hair, where the dress exposes your skin, arms, shoulder, upper chest and lower legs. But if we remove all of it, you will experience the sensuous feel of the lingerie and you will feel more feminine. Oh, I am only going as far as I need to, said Tom. I have decided to wear Jessica's wedding lingerie as I want to feel as close as possible to her, but not for the sensations. I was looking forward to seeing my brother with a smooth body, smirked Kate. A pity. You can shave off the hair or you can use this hair remover and lotion, said Sally as she offered him 2 bottles. I would recommend the hair remover. Thanks, said Tom as he put the bottles inside his hold-all. Sally removed the dress from its bag. Now let's get the dress on you and find out if we have a problem, suggested Sally. Give me a hand, Kate, and Tom, hold your arms up. The 2 women lifted up the dress and carefully lowered it over Tom. It was an off-the-shoulder dress with short sleeves, a tight bodice and a full skirt. Tom wasn't much taller than his wife but was just as slim. Well, it is not polite to say, but it was more Jessica had been on the large size rather than Tom being small. Sally hadn't been able to close the zip but she said, I think this is going to work out well. You obviously don't have a woman's shape but we can sort that out. This was one of my stock dresses and we altered it to fit Jessica. Jessica decided not to wear a bridal corset, despite their popularity with brides and their grooms, of course. If we get you into one, we should be able to zip you up and you will have a convincing feminine waist. I can lend you one from stock. I never envisaged wearing a corset, but it does make sense, commented Tom. Okay, go for it. You will need breasts, said Sally as a matter of fact. She disappeared into her stockroom and came back with a box and took a pair of breast forms. I think these should be the right size and shape for you and the dress. You didn't buy those for me, I hope, said a surprised Tom. Well, if you want a pair I can order them for you, said Sally with a broad smile. But we do keep a limited stock. You will be surprised how many of our customers need or want them. You're right, I am surprised, said Tom. Me, too, said Kate, who couldn't stop giggling. Some customers wish to have a more shapely bust on their special day. But this pair is for our male customers, said Sally. We do have trans brides, but they do not need them. It is for the crossdressers. Like your brother, many boys want to be bridesmaids and many brides want their brothers or close friends to dress as bridesmaids. Last week we fitted a 6-year girl and her 7-year-old brother in matching dresses. They were so sweet and their mother was very proud. Some buy wedding dresses just for their private pleasure. The regular ones are among my best customers. One of them has bought a bridal gown from me every year for the last 5 years. There are very few women that buy that many gowns, even over a lifetime. My male customers are also less demanding. I open one Sunday a month for special appointments. So you are not alone, Tom, and you are in experienced hands. Next Sunday I am opening up the salon so we can have a fitting. Kate, can you drop by Tom's and pick up Jessica's bridal lingerie and also one of her day dresses if Tom has not cleared out her other clothes yet? Asked Sally as she hung up Jessica's wedding dress. I haven't touched any of Jessica's things. I just couldn't. I actually finished and put away her laundry, said Tom. Aw, good. Tom, please use the hair remover and have a close shave before you come. Do you know if you can fit into Jessica's shoes? If so, bring a pair, please. Have you thought about the veil and train? Asked Sally. I have, and it isn't what I want. I'm not getting married or pretending to be a bride. I am wearing the dress as a married woman who is confirming her vows. I think I have just mixed up genders and roles, but you know what I mean, explained Tom. Time to get dressed again in your boring man clothes, Tom, said Sally. Would you two like a coffee? I didn't offer earlier in case you split some on the dress. Yes, please, said Kate. And me, added Tom. While they were drinking their coffee, there was a knock on the door. Sally got up and let in Bill and Tessa. As compensation for not getting to wear a bridesmaid dress, I have offered to provide him with a special dress to wear at the evening party. I do have a small range of occasion dresses from my suppliers, but my seamstress can also run one up for him. That reminds me, Tom, are you going to wear the dress Jessica wore during the evening of your wedding day? I am only going to wear Jessica's wedding dress for the ceremony and dinner. For the party I will be back to being only Tom, replied Tom. Well, looks like you are going to be the belle of the party, Bill, chuckled Kate. Now, before you go, Tom. Kate, Tessa and I have something planned for you and Bill next Sunday. After your dress fittings, you are both going to have makeovers, put on pretty day dresses and heels and go out with Kate and Tessa. Not only do you need to look like beautiful women, you need to be beautiful women in the way you move and act. So every weekend between now and the ceremony you are going to practice, until being feminine is second nature, Sally announced, grinning at Tom and Bill. I can't wait to call my two nephews my nieces. Tom looked at Bill with embarrassment. Bill looked at Tom with excitement. And one other thing, please let your nails grow and don't have any haircuts, added Sally. Now I need to sort out Bill. I'll see you two on Saturday. For Tom and his sister and Bill and his girlfriend, the week sped by and it was now Sunday morning. Tom was apprehensive, but his everlasting love for his departed wife and his declared means of expressing it drove him. Bill was over the moon. He loved his girlfriend and hoped to marry her, but with the overwhelming support of Tessa and his family to fulfill his desire to present himself as a woman drove him. Tom's doorbell rang. It was Kate. Hi, Tom. Hi, Kate. He gave her a hug. Let's sort out the rest of Jessica's bridal things and an outfit for you to wear today. Do her shoes fit you and have you removed your body hair? She gushed. Her shoes do fit me, which I suspected, but still surprised me. And I have removed my body hair, well enough I hope. I have put together the bridal things but not an outfit for today. I need your help. It is a little mystifying, replied Tom patiently. Tom opened the wardrobe where Jessica's clothes were kept. Kate had a look through and then asked him, Did you remove all the hair on your legs? Yes, I didn't really know where to stop, replied Tom. Good, then I think this skirt and top will suit you. The weather today is going to be warm, but we will take this jacket just in case, said Kate. The skirt was a full skirt that fell to just above the knees in black with a white floral pattern. The top was in white with a scoop neck and capped sleeves. Then Kate shrieked with joy as she took out another hanger. This dress is one Jessica wore for the hen do. I'm glad she kept it. It was a mini dress with a halter neck, in black, and it sparkled. Tom never remembered her wearing it. Is Jessica's underwear in these drawers? She asked Tom. Yes, replied Tom. Kate then rummaged around and pulled out a white t-shirt bra and matching knickers and found an unopened packet of nude tights. Now we just need shoes and a bag. Have you been practicing walking in heels? No, replied Tom. Kate looked for and found a pair of sandals with 2-inch block heels. These should be a good pair for you to start with. You have less than 6 weeks to build up to Jessica's court shoes with their 4-inch stiletto heels. Kate then took down a plain bag with a shoulder strap from a wardrobe shelf. You won't need a handbag on the day, but we'll need one while we are out. We'll leave jewelry for today, but your wedding ring is perfect. I bet you never thought that having matching wedding rings would have such symbolism, wearing the same ring as Jessica's while being dressed as her. Tom and Kate arrived at Sally's salon just before Bill and Tessa. Well, we girls think nothing of dressing in front of each other, but I assume you brothers are not yet ready to dress as girls together, said an amused Aunt Sally. So the changing room over there is yours, Tom. I've hung Jessica's dress up in there for you, and the other is for you, Bill. There are some dresses which I think you might like. You and Tessa have a look and see what you think. They are not your size, but I can order in the right size for next week. Tessa can then help you get dressed and made up for your trip out while I help Kate with Tom's bridal fitting. Tom took off his clothes and put on Jessica's bra and knickers. Tom had no problem with knickers, which he handled with care. With the lace they looked so delicate and fragile, and with reverence as they were his wife's bridal intimates. I still have in stock the matching corset that came with the original set. Raise your arms and we will wrap it round you, said Sally. It was an underbust corset with 6 suspenders. It was in ivory with lace panels matching the bra and kickers. Once they had it on him, the two women tightened the laces, creating a feminine waist on Tom. Sally measured his new waist, nearly another inch, and Tom will be the same size as Jessica. Tom, please sit down while we put the stockings on you. They are very delicate. You won't wear them again until the day of the ceremony, said Sally as she and Kate gently straightened the stockings and connected them to the suspenders. Tom, said Sally hesitantly, you will remember, of course, that Jessica's cleavage was showing. You are going to have the same, otherwise the dress won't look right. My special customers often like to show some cleavage. It gives them a delightful air of illusion, and we have a workaround to achieve this. But I don't have any breasts, exclaimed Tom, not even man boobs. If you were fat enough to have man boobs you wouldn't have fitted into the dress, said Sally. Let me show you. I asked you to remove the hair from your upper torso, and this is why, as Sally attached strips of tape across his chest, pulling the natural fat on his breasts together to create an odd-looking valley of flesh. Now we can put Jessica's bra on you. You can see it is strapless. The dress bodice will hold these breast forms in place for now, but I have a more robust solution for next time, literally, she laughed. Sally then got the breast forms out of the box and inserted them into the bra cups and adjusted them to achieve a natural look. Tom looked down and teardrops started to form. I am sorry, Tom, is the cleavage too embarrassing for you? Asked Sally. No, it is not that. Actually, I am rather impressed. Looking down and seeing Jessica's bra and emerging breasts, they looked so familiar I was overcome. I'm fine now, replied Tom. Your love and connection to Jessica just keeps amazing me, said Kate as she helped by zipping up the dress. I'm very pleased with the fit. I don't need to carry any alterations. Your hips are not as wide as Jessica's were, but with the cinched waist and the flow of the skirt it is difficult to notice. In fact, the dress drop is a little longer, so compensating for you being a tad taller. You have a very convincing shape and the dress looks as nearly as good on you as it did on Jessica. Now the shoes, said Sally. Tom gathered up his skirt and sat down. Kate kneeled down and placed the elegant white shoes on Tom's feet. They fit very well. You two were so alike even down to your feet. Now carefully stand up. We don't want you falling, but more importantly we don't want you damaging the dress and the shoes. Kate and Sally took an arm each. Tom carefully stood up, wavered a bit and then grinned with pride with his achievement. Sally stood back and took a critical look. Tom, with the heels, you look amazing. This is really going to work. Kate, can you help Tom to change into the clothes you brought with you, said Sally, while I will go and see how Bill and Tessa are getting on. Sally called out, Can I come in? Yes, replied Tessa. Sally saw her other nephew fully dressed and made up. "Wow," she said, "you make an amazing and very convincing woman. Perhaps we should do something to make sure you don't upstage the bride," she said jokingly. Tessa had done a wonderful job with Bill's makeover. She was delighted and said, "Oh, I am so pleased. We spent nearly all our time together choosing an outfit for today. Most of Bill's clothes have been for our private times together. But now I am really going to enjoy Bill coming out with me as my best girlfriend." "But Auntie, can you help with his hair?" With Bill and Tessa's relationship, it was natural she would also call her aunt. "For today I have wigs for both Bill and Tom, but the day before the celebration I have arranged for my wedding service hairdresser to style their hair using extensions or hair pieces. She did Jessica's hair for the wedding and I have asked her to style Tom's to match as close as is practical, and for you, Bill, it is whatever you want, providing it suits you of course," replied Sally. Bill was speechless. "Now have you looked at the sample dresses?" asked Sally. "We like this one best," said Tessa, holding up a white sleeveless shift dress with a bold pattern of blue and yellow flowers. "I chose this one so he can wear it all day, for the ceremony and the party. That is one of my favorites, but I wanted you to have the choice." "I'll order one in Bill's size for next week, and a jacket for the daytime," said Sally. "I'll fetch the wigs." Tessa is not the dominant one in the relationship, it is one of equals who care for each other. But Tessa was so excited about transforming Bill for the party that she had taken over. With Tessa's dress sense and Sally's magic touch, soon Bill no longer looked like Bill, but a pretty student in her early 20s. "I just can't believe what you have done," said an amazed Bill when he looked at himself in the mirror. "So much so," he said, "I was thinking about using an obvious girl's name, but now I think I'll stick to Bill or maybe Billy. I'm not going to be confused for a man." Soon both Tom and Bill were ready to venture out with Kate and Tessa. They headed for the local park and walked around the garden. Tom coped with the low-block heels, but still walked like a man. However, with constant supervision by both Kate and Tessa, he soon walked with a more feminine bearing. Bill was wearing higher heels and was coping well, but he had been watching videos on YouTube, as well as watching Tessa, and practicing at home. After a while Tom wanted to sit down, his feet and calves were hurting. Bill did not protest, but the girls said that men were weak and couldn't cope like women, but they were wearing trainers. They decided to go and get some coffee, so Tom and Bill could practice other everyday activities, like sitting with their legs together. They were doing so well that Kate and Tessa suggested they head for the town center for window shopping. Bill was keen and Tom wasn't, but went anyway. "Hi Sally," said Kate when Sally answered the phone, "we were thinking about going for a meal. If you need to lock up then we will come now so the boys can change, but if you are free then why not join us and they change afterwards?" "I would love to. Where are you?" replied Sally. "I have been thinking how you have been getting on." The five of them enjoyed their meal, girls together. Bill and Tom were quite relaxed and had not noticed if anybody had read them. Tom had a near miss when Sally noticed his wig was not on straight. Tom will now more readily accept having his own hair done on the day, thought Sally. Over the remaining weekends before the ceremony, Tom and Bill practiced their feminine skills, sometimes all four together, sometimes in pairs. Sally was always on hand to help. Both came quite accomplished. They moved, walked, talked and sat just like women. The four of them even went dancing on the Saturday night of the weekend before. Despite numerous approaches from determined men, they just danced together, with Tom and Bill being led by Kate and Tessa. They were now ready for anything. Well, there were some activities girls did that they wouldn't be doing. They all got together at Sally's salon the following day to make final preparations. Sally wanted to have a dry run on the day before the anniversary. She told the unsuspecting Tom that she had arranged for a hairdresser and to come in during the morning. "Why can't I carry on wearing a wig?" asked an unsure Tom. "Because the day has to be perfect and you have to be perfect. No bride would accept anything less. And don't forget that time your wig was dislodged." Sally didn't mention that a wig could be fixed in place. "And afterwards we will soon have you back to looking your normal self, but with a nice new haircut." Tom decided not to argue and he did want everything to go well. Kate, why don't you bring your glad rags to the salon, and when we finished, we can all get ready for the hen do. I understand Kelly decided to go ahead even though the suggestion of having bridesmaids had been dropped, suggested Sally. We can go straight to the pub from here, and Tom, don't forget to check for any unwanted body hair and have a close shave. Tom and Kate turned up at Sally's salon on Saturday. Tom was a bit nervous. Good afternoon, said a cheery Sally. Sit down over there, Tom, and we sort out your hair and nails, and give you a makeover. For Tom it seemed to go on for ages, but eventually they were finished. Stand up, Tom, and have a look at yourself in the mirror, said Sally. Tom stared at himself. The hairstyle was Jessica's, it was colored blonde, and with the extensions it reached his shoulders. But it was his face, he looked so much like his wife. Sally has not only brought out features to make him look more feminine, but to look more like Jessica. You did an amazing job, Auntie. I see my body but with Jessica's head. Tom exclaimed. Okay, let's sort that out, said Sally. Get undressed and put on the knickers. They dressed Tom with Jessica's bridal lingerie and dress. Tom was dumbfounded when Sally used adhesive to attach the breast forms. Safety first. We don't want your tits sliding down with the dress. I have a solvent when it is time to remove them, but that is going to be tomorrow night after it's all over. Tonight you are going to have to sleep with these babies. I have something for you, said Kate. I've had Jessica's engagement ring sized to match your wedding ring, and the earrings she wore converted so you can wear them without piercing your ears. She placed the ring on Tom's ring finger so it nestled next to his wedding ring and helped him put on the earrings. Tom was now fully dressed inside and out as Jessica was on their wedding day, well except for wearing a bridal corset. Of course, they had married and exchanged their vows a year ago, so he wasn't wearing her veil and train, and he wore his own matching wedding ring. Tom was not going to take his off. I want you to come through to our photo studio, Sally said to Tom. We offer to take portraits of our brides. They are popular as they have a chance to pose without all the problems on the day itself. But for you it is not an offer, it's compulsory according to your mom. Tom was quite rigid at first, then with some encouragement he eased up but overcompensated and posed with exaggerated bearing, but he eventually relaxed and Sally took some amazing pictures of Tom looking like a confident bride. Sally was pleased that tomorrow Tom should look natural when it came time to take more photos. Just as they finished, Kate brought Bill and Tessa through to the studio. They both gasped when they saw Tom, followed by the widest of smiles. Bill was quite jealous. Bill and Tessa were dressed for a night out, as was Kelly when she arrived soon after, and Kate had changed during the photo session. Okay, Tom, time to get you changed. Take off everything except the corset and we'll hang them ready for tomorrow, instructed Kate. Why don't I take off the corset? Asked Tom. Because you won't be able to get this dress on without it, replied Sally. What dress? Asked Tom. Why this one, said an amused Kate. It's the dress Jessica wore on her hen night and these are her shoes and bag. It dawned on Tom what his sister was saying, especially when he realized Bill was dressed as a girl. You are not expecting me to come with you, are you? Said Bill. Of course you are. It is not a hen do without the bride, and anyway where are you going with that hair and those nails and, oh, those breasts? He looked at his big sister, his brother and his brother's girlfriend and realized it would be churlish not to go with them. And Sally was smiling with encouragement. Okay, why not? I'm in, said Tom. Kate, you better come with me to help me get changed. Tom hadn't realized how short Jessica's dress or how high her heels were. He nearly changed his mind, but Bill had been even more adventurous. Bill wasn't wearing a mini dress, but a pair of tight trousers that showed off the curves of attractive hips and the bum of a young woman, and he had a flat front with no sign of any bulge. Tom didn't know how Bill looked that way, but then Sally had her ways. Tom teamed the shiny black trousers with a silver Bordeaux top and black strappy stilettos. Tessa and Kate were also in tight trousers and tops but with bare midriffs. But Kelly was wearing a mini dress, Tom was relieved to note. They were a group of young women dressed for a night out on the town. Tom was dressed just as Jessica was on her hen night, including her engagement ring, except he kept his wedding ring on. When he emerged from the changing booth, they all wooed and wowed. Sit down, Tom, said Sally. I need to redo your makeup for an evening look." Sally finished with Tom just in time for the taxi. They all piled in and set off for a town center pub which Kelly had originally recommended for Jessica's due. Tom had decided to stick to soft drinks. Not only did he not want a hangover on his big day, well, second biggest day, but he wanted to keep his wits about him. They had a quiet drink. It was not the intention of the girls to embarrass Tom or Bill, just like on Jessica's hen night. Well, quiet and not being raucous, but did they talk excitedly? "I've booked a table at the same restaurant we went to last year and it's time to go," said Kelly. They walked to the restaurant arm in arm with their heels clicking. Tom was amazed that Bill was swaying his hips in perfect time with the others. It was a perfect evening, and despite his foreboding, Tom really enjoyed the liberation and company of a girls' night. And he admitted to himself that he enjoyed the sensation of walking in high heels, the short skirt dress showing off his shapely legs, and the look and feel of being out with bare shoulders and arms, something he had not expected. He also enjoyed the admiring glances from the diners and passerbys. He just hoped tomorrow would be just as successful and enjoyable, but he did miss Jessica not being with them. The day finally came. Tom dressed in a pair of Jessica's jeans. Bill had influenced his decision, and one of her t-shirts and pair of trainers. He wanted something to wear to go to Sally's, and with his hair and nails, and not forgetting the breasts which had survived the night, his own clothes would look odd. Kate was there when he arrived. The ritual and care that his sister and aunt took getting him ready was eye-opening. "I can now understand why a girl's wedding day is so special," said Tom. "Thank you for helping me share Jessica's experience." Once he was ready, he was told to sit demurely while they finished getting ready themselves. "You really are making this day special," he told Kate and Sally. It was a close family-only affair after all. They had both chosen outfits for a special occasion, with Kate wearing a pretty fascinator and Sally an elegant hat. "I'm sorry, but there is no horse and carriage or vintage Rolls-Royce," said Sally as they got into her car to go to Tom's parents' farm. They helped Tom get in first, and he coped well with the long full dress and heels. When they arrived, everybody was waiting. There were gasps and shrieks of joy when Tom emerged from a car. They saw a bride when they were expecting Tom in Jessica's wedding dress. His mother was the first to come up and hug him. "I won't kiss you, dear. I might spoil your face. I have something here for you to wear. It's a family heirloom," she said as she put a gold bracelet on his wrist. "It is a tradition that the women of the family wear it on their wedding day. Jessica wore it on your wedding day, and it completes your outfit." Kate came up and handed Tom a posy of flowers to hold. Standing behind her was Adrian in a morning suit. Adrian was Jessica's father. "Tom would give me the honor of allowing me to escort you," he said as he offered Tom his arm. Tom was all of a flutter, but silently took his arm just as his fiancée did a year ago. The rest of their guests had made their way to a marquee set up on his parents' lawn. Adrian escorted Tom through the tables to a dais to applause from the guests. Sally was waiting on the dais. Tom was impressed she had got there so quickly. Adrian left a demure Tom standing next to Sally. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sally paused. "Oh, dear, that does sound rather formal. Anyway, you all know why you are here. Tom wants to share with you the renewal of his wedding vow, made a year ago today, to Jessica. As Jessica is no longer with us, Tom has very bravely brought her to us today. We have not invited the vicar as this is a private family affair, so I have been asked to step in as the next best thing, being the owner of a wedding business." She paused to let the laughter die down. She then asked Bill to repeat after her his vow. Then Bill felt someone take his arm, just like Jessica would have done, but when he looked there was nobody there. The wording had been changed from "until death do us part" to "until the day of my death." Many of the guests hadn't realized how much of a commitment Bill was making. He was a widower, yet he was committing himself to the memory of his wife for the rest of his life. Tom then tossed the posy over his shoulder, and Bill caught it. Maybe Bill felt that as he was a girl for the day and unmarried, he could take part in the tradition. When the brief ceremony was over and the tears had ceased to flow, Sally announced, Tom, for obvious reasons, did not want any photographs to be taken. However, he is not going to get away with it. His cousin, John, has offered to take photos, and of course you have your phones. I don't have to ask you to be discreet, I know you will be. Tom was kept very busy. Everybody wanted a photo with him. Parents, uncles and aunts, grandparents, cousins, great-uncles and aunts, from both his and Jessica's family. Finally, the formal photos had been taken and they settled down to a meal. It was a typical wedding feast, a wedding breakfast back in the day, but without the wedding cake, much to the disappointment of some. Tom sat at the top table, where else, looking splendid in his wife's gown, he ate very little due to his excitement and the corset. Sally and Kate had taken another couple of inches of his waist, giving him a much better figure. Then came the speeches, with Sally acting as the mistress of ceremonies. All the speakers were genuinely emotional and full of praise for Tom and his lifelong commitment to Jessica's memory. We have one more speech, from Bill, who was Tom's best man, who has been on an incredible journey these last 3 months. Bill looked splendid in her floral dress and ivory open jacket. She wore a matching fascinator nearly as pretty as her mom's. She was really delighted to dress formally for a special occasion. The chance to wear a hat is few and far between nowadays. It now seemed more appropriate to use female pronouns when Bill was dressed as a woman and Bill liked to be addressed as a woman. Me? I'm sticking to male pronouns. Well, today is the last day, Tom said to himself. Hello, everybody. You all know by now that under all this finery is me, the other Bill. I am very touched that you have accepted me, although I am disappointed that one of my uncles decided not to attend. Bill paused, as if taking a deep breath. Mom, you will be having a new daughter. There were curious and knowing murmurs. Today I asked the one person here who is not a member of one of the two families, said Bill as she gave Tessa a hand to stand up, to marry me, and she said yes. There was applause and cheers as Tessa showed the new ring on her hand. Before anyone jumps to any conclusions, I am not going to be the bride, said Bill, followed by cries of shame, and Tom is going to be my best man, not Tessa's chief bridesmaid. There were even louder cries of shame. How were you dressed when you proposed, and were you kneeling? Cried out one of the cousins. I was dressed in my best man's suit, and not this one, referring to the dress and jacket she was wearing. I changed afterwards with my fiancé's help. And I got down on one knee, replied Bill. You won't see this Bill at our wedding, waving a hand around himself. I don't want to overshadow Tessa on her special day. There were cries of agreement, but, perhaps, who knows, I might make an appearance during the party. She will, if I have anything to do with it, cried Tessa. I've got to know Tessa very well over recent months, and I am delighted to hear their news, said Sally. Now we are going to push some of the tables back so we can clear a space for mingling and for dancing. We sadly can't kick off the dancing with Jessica and Tom, but we can with Tom and his father-in-law Adrian, said Sally, grinning at Tom. Tom looked very reluctant as Adrian stood up, but finally he smiled and took Adrian's arm, if only to stop the cries of dance, dance, dance and the banging on the tables in time to the chanting. Tom now realizes why Kate had insisted on him practicing dancing. Adrian took Tom's hand and placed his other hand on the small of the back. Tom instinctively responded by placing his hand on Adrian's shoulder, and they started to dance to applause. They made an elegant couple as they circled the floor. Tom moved gracefully, almost as if he was being guided by Jessica's spirit. Other couples soon joined them. Mary has been very emotional today, seeing you as our daughter and honoring her memory, whispered Adrian. She is touched by your lifetime commitment and the way you expressed it today. She said you are and will always be part of our family as our daughter-in-law, though I think she meant son-in-law. The celebration drew to a close and everyone helped Graham and Julie clear up. Well, nearly everyone. It wasn't that easy for Tom wearing Jessica's long gown. Some of the older relatives headed for home, but the younger ones went back to the farmhouse to get ready for the party. The party was being held in the house. Tom was going to change back to being plain old Tom, but Kate and his aunt had persuaded him otherwise, pointing out that his hair remained in Jessica's style. So they had brought along the dress and shoes Jessica had worn at the evening party on her wedding day. It was quite daring for Tom, being figure-hugging, with spaghetti shoulder straps and ending mid-thigh. It was covered in silver sequins. However, it didn't look that good on Tom with his male hips and bum. despite the feminized waist formed by the corset. The shoes were even higher than he had worn during the day, being elegant 5-inch stiletto-heeled strappy sandals in matching silver. But they were Jessica's. Tom made his way to the party and made his entry to more gasps and applause. But it didn't last long because Bill made an entrance in a similar dress and shoes but in sparkling red, much to the amusement of Sally. She, Kate and Tessa had set the two brothers up. Bill did outshine Tom as her figure was more womanly, she was wearing hip and bum pads. The party was a great success, mainly just the younger members of the family. The previous generation did attend at first, but then drifted off to another room. When Tom was ready to go home, Kate took him to the spare bedroom to help him change. Tom had left some of his clothes at his parents' house, so for the first time